I just want you.
In the back.
Can you just talk about what you guys are in the midst of and how special this round is for you guys?
It's definitely the best time of year right now. We all kind of know that going in, that we've kind of been working up to this moment, just being able to play in the tournament, and we're all really excited to get it started and play tomorrow. But we know we have to take each game one day at a time and really focus on what we have specifically tomorrow rather than looking ahead at the big picture.
In the front.
Katie, can you address how different a feeling it is this year as compared to the last couple of years? Obviously, you guys have lost the big three, and it's been talked about all year about how you responded to the postseason. And, Kia had 15 minutes last year, but a lot of the rest of you did not. So how different is it?
Yeah, it's pretty different for all of us kind of on this team. I feel like everyone is kind of in a spot that we weren't in last year. So we all just have to be ready to go, and I think we've treated it pretty differently all year, and we're probably going to do the same thing that we've done when we go into every other game. But definitely pretty excited to get going, and I think a lot of people are on this team.
Go ahead, Pat.
Kia, can you address your leadership role on this team, especially going into the postseason? What are you telling the other players who haven't got minutes about the difference in the pressure, the difference in what they're going to feel out there?
Well, I think all season long kind of been working up towards that and understanding that right now, March is a whole different kind of time of the year. It's a whole different beast to tackle. And I think we've done a really good job, and we've had a lot of people step up in their own sense, in their own leadership role. So, Lou, Gabby, Fee, they've all kind of stepped up and helped those younger guys understand what it's like to be in a position like this. And now, as the games go on and the first one, you get that one done, it'll be exciting for them, probably a little nerve-wracking, but we'll help them through it.
Over here first.
Yeah, what's the most challenging part about this process for you guys as a team, especially with this one?
I think, when you come into a tournament like this and you're in a different situation, it's kind of do or die. You're under the pressure of every single game. You got to win to continue your season. And for us, I think just understanding that we have to continue to do everything the same way we've done it all season. You don't want to change your routine. You don't want to change anything that you've done because that's what we've been working on. That's what we're accustomed to. So understanding that this is an important time this season. It's a little bit different. But at the same time, we want to maintain what we've been doing and execute and focus on ourselves like that.
Okay, we're going to go to Jim here and then Ian in the back.
Yeah, there's 6 Ontario natives in this sub-region. Just your thoughts on kind of the growth of girls basketball in that part of Canada, and just how exciting it is. You think you go back home with all you guys are doing.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic that we have that many Ontario kids. And I've played against or with pretty much all of them. And it's fun to be in this environment. It's something that we used to talk about when we were younger, kind of getting to play in an NCAA tournament. So super excited for them, proud of their success. And it's just, a testament to what's been growing back home in the basketball community there.
Ian in the back.
Can you talk about how Sanaya stepped up her game this year, probably her best season in 4 years here?
Yeah, Sanaya's definitely stepped up, and it started the moment we started the season. You could tell in practices and in workouts her focus and her intensity was there, and I think she's done a great job for us this year. She stepped up in her role. She's made plays. Her turnover to assist ratio has been incredible, and I think she's done a lot for us, and it's a great testament to her hard work this year.
The back.
Kia, can you just talk about what Coach Auriemma has meant to this program and the level of success that he's given?
Coach obviously has done a whole lot for this program, and since I've been here, I've learned that there's definitely a method to his madness, and he's someone who's going to push you beyond your limits, beyond any limits you thought you had. And when you get into a game, you're already been in that situation in practice, you know how to handle it, and you're calm, cool, and collected about it. So fortunate to have him. All the success that UConn has had in itself is just a testament to how he's held people to expectations, pushed them to their limits every single day, and the passion and love that he has for the game.
Right here. Go ahead, right here.
Yeah, I was wondering how your ankle is feeling and how much better it's gotten in the couple weeks that you've been able to rest, or the week or so you've been able to rest it since the AAC tournament.
The ankle's been really good. It's held up very well, very proud of it. And the time that we got to rest it, the time that we had this week to continue to work to get better was good for it, and I'm ready to go with it.
Roger in front.
You guys don't normally talk about winning this many in a row of that, or that many in a row of this, but last year, Coach said because no one had ever won 4 in a row, one class had never won 4 in a row, there was some talk about it. Is it back to we're just trying to win one championship right now, or is there some pride in maybe 5th in a row?
I think what we do a really good job of here is understanding that we take every single day and every single practice, every single film session, lift session, one at a time. So what our focus is today is practice and making sure that we watch film, having all that stuff under control, and then, going out tomorrow and playing a great game. And I don't think it's as much as thinking of we got to win this many in a row. I mean, it's NCAA tournament. You got to win 1 game in a row, then 1 game in a row, then 1 game in a row. And keeping a mentality of what's in front of us each day, that's how we would look at it.
Right here, second one.
Hi, Tim Wilson from the Open Time Junior. Katie Lou, is it hard not to look past the first round opponent when you're a 49-point favorite?
I don't think so. I think the fact that we haven't played in a little while is kind of exciting, that we're all ready to play again tomorrow, and we just want to get it going, so we know we have to do whatever we need to do in practice today and just be ready to go tomorrow.
Anything further in the back?
How does the 11 a.m. start affect that routine that he was talking about?
You talked about the routine.
I don't know if we played an 11 a.m. game this year, but obviously just understanding that today we have to maximize the time that we have in practice to kind of be prepared as much as we can and understand that tomorrow's an early morning. But we've definitely this week taken it, step by step and understanding that we have to wake up early, get ready for practice, so tried to work that into the schedule that happened this week already.
Back there, and then we'll go here.
Yeah, obviously you talked about taking it 1 game at a time, and your next opponent is Albany. Have you seen anything on film on Albany, or what do you see as something you guys have to try and stop from this team? Obviously, they're heavy underdogs.
Obviously, I think they play great team basketball, and that's something that I saw on film. They move the ball well. They find spaces and gaps where they can be successful. So understanding that defensively, we have to be all on the same page, understanding strengths and weaknesses and taking those away and trying to emphasize that and use that to our strength.
Go ahead.
Katie, I'm from Syracuse, so the obligatory steward question, but I've forgotten. I was just down in the locker room. They said you're still one of her best friends. Has she keep in touch? Has she given you any pre-tournament messages? And what's it like to kind of have her still in touch, even though she's moved on to other things?
Yeah, I've definitely still stayed in touch with her. She's pretty busy, but she's made it a point to kind of keep texting me throughout the season, or I'll text her a few times. But she's just been she just tells me she's really proud of what we've been doing, our team, and me specifically. She tells me just certain things that, she's happy for me and excited about everything. So it's really nice to have her always there and for someone that I can always just go to if I need something.
In the back.
Katie Lou, you all won 6 straight conference championships. I believe that's the longest in women's basketball at this time. So you're not necessarily facing a 16 seed that's never really been here before. Just what are your thoughts on you all?
Yeah, they're definitely, like Kia said, play great team basketball, and they definitely know what they're doing out there with winning 6 in a row. So they're going to be ready to go, and they're not going to take us lightly or be worried about anything with that. They're just going to play as hard as they can, so we really have to be ready from the start.
Anything else for student athletes? Okay, you are free to go back to the locker room. There is 20 minutes left on the open locker room, 20 minutes. At this time, we are going to take coaches' questions for the head coach. We're going to start in the back, and then we'll come forward.
CBS and Hartford. Geno, the time between the last tournament game, conference game, and then the Eric, do you always treat that the same? Is that always the same routine?
Try to keep the same routine, yeah. It's not ideal, to have to wait that long to play. I wish our conference tournament ended this past Sunday, and then do a selection show on Monday and then play. But we have an extra week, and it's good and bad. If in Kia's case, you want to get healthy, so it's a good thing. it's not so great because you're playing great and you want to keep it going before, too much time passes. But it's pretty much the same every year, 3 days off right after the tournament, and then, a couple days of practice, a day off, a couple days of practice, a day off. And the snow put a little bit of a damper on that. We had to make a slight adjustment, but otherwise, same routine. Like Kia said, there's a certain routine that we're used to, and we try to stick to that.
Eric?
Eric Joe Betts, WTNH. Geno, a couple of times this year you said, hey, this team is going to lose a game. Maybe we're not that good. I don't know when it's going to happen, but obviously heading into the tournament, you don't want that to happen now.
Well, yeah. I mean, the time for thinking like that's over. It's like, hurry up already and let's get this over with. And now that we're in this phase, that's not my thinking, obviously. But we're, I was just having a conversation with Bill Fenley about this. It's quite remarkable that it's gone on this long, that it's been able to last into this part of the season. And, who's to say? I just know that at this time of the year, what your record is or what you did the past 5 months isn't really that significant. It really is about, being able to play great 6 nights in a row. And, we've been able to play great a lot of nights this year. The fact that Kia and Lou have played a lot of minutes in the NCAA tournament obviously is a big help. The other 3 or 4 or 5 players that we're going to be playing, not so much. So I'm anxious to see how they respond to all this.
Carl?
The follow-up on the question earlier, Albany has been here 6 years ago.
Mhm.
What makes them different as a 16 seed, I think, is that they've had success. They beat Florida last year. They had to beat 2 years ago, let it get away at the end.
Uh-huh.
So do you see them as not your typical overwhelmed number 16?
Yeah, I mean, I think the teams that win championships in their league obviously know how to win. I've often wondered why teams in leagues like the America East, let's say, why they even have a conference tournament. Like, unless that tournament's bringing in a ton of money, why have a conference tournament? And why not send your best team to the NCAA tournament? And then the question is, who's your best team? The team that won the tournament or the team that won the regular season? So the fact that Albany's been able to win the regular season a bunch of times and go to the NCAA tournament, and this year win the tournament after, I don't think they won the regular season. They came in second. So they kind of have a knack for getting to the tournament. So maybe the tournament helped this year. So I think anytime teams are used to winning championships, then obviously they're different than a team that gets in, like a 6-12 team in their league gets into the NCAA tournament. That's another subject. Whether a 6-12 team deserves to be in the tournament instead of a team that wins a championship during the regular season, or something like that.
Okay, there's 15 minutes left in the locker room.
We don't treat any team that we play as anything less than a champion. Because if they weren't champions, they wouldn't be here.
All right, we're going to go back to Ian, and then we're going to come forward to Paul. Then we'll go back.
How important? Well, if we could go back in time 4 years ago, and if you could tape this segment and hear the following words come out of my mouth. I don't know where we'd be without Sanaya Chong. I would say somebody dubbed that into Coach Auriemma's mouth. And now here we are, 4 years removed, and I don't know where we'd be without Sanaya right now. That's how much she's changed and how much she's added to our program. I mean, there was 2 years ago when Sanaya said she wanted to keep playing after college. And I remember saying something like, I'm sure there's a lot of pickup leagues back in Ossining, New York that would love to have you as part of their program. And now, after watching her play this year, I'm thinking, there's a place for her to play next year. And I told her at the conference tournament at Mohegan, I said, I don't know how many people understand this, but you might be the most important kid out on the court for as long as we play in this NCAA tournament.
Okay, right here in front, and then we'll go right there.
Given the depth issues you guys have, are your practices different this time of year than they've been in the past year? Do you kind of balance things?
Yeah, it's hard. It's much harder this year. I remember specifically, I think it was last year, yeah. I remember specifically last year during the NCAA tournament or leading up to the tournament, and at times during, where I would just take 2 of those 3, the guys that graduated, and keep them off the court for long stretches and watch what would happen with the others. And it was a nightmare. But I forced them to do it and forced them to do it. And what happened was, like this one particular day, I might have had Stewie and Tuck off the court for like 15 minutes. And those other guys couldn't get anything done. And it just got worse and worse and worse. And I just got more pissed and more pissed. And I would just keep after them. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, like Kia Nurse buries 2 threes in a row, and the dam broke open, and they went off. And I thought, okay, now I think I feel better that if something happens, they are going to be capable of, holding down the fort. Well, if I took 2 of our starters off the court at any one time right now in practice for 15 minutes, it would be because I've ended practice. So it's a little bit different this year, and we've had to kind of manage it a little bit different. And maybe that's such great physical conditions because they've had to spend a lot of time on the court, so they've built up. It's not ideal, but that's kind of where we are.
Third row.
With what your team has done over the years, you're a 49-point favorite. You haven't lost the first-round game forever. What's the things that it could happen tomorrow, and no one in this room and probably in the state thinks it will?
Well, I've been around a long time. I've coached a lot of years, and I've never taken a first round game lightly, and neither will my players. But if it was a done deal, then why are we playing? Why don't we just call up Albany and say, listen, save yourself a trip down here. Here's what we want the score to be. Let's put it in the paper up there. So if there's absolutely positively no chance that Albany can win, then why are we playing? So the fact that we're playing and we're keeping score means they have a chance. And that's what this is all about, isn't it? That's what the NCAA tournament's all about. I want a chance. And, if you're going to say, well, they could be playing at South Carolina right now, or they could be playing at Baylor, or they could be playing at Notre Dame, whatever, and you give them the same chance. You say, well, they can't win, because the 16 is only won one time, I think, in the NCAA tournament. But here they are. They're at UConn. And as long as the refs show up and the guy keeping score shows up, they have a chance. After 40 minutes, we'll decide how big of a chance they had. That's the way I always look at it.
10 minutes are left on the open locker room. Over here.
Geno, you talked about having a conversation with the team about where the expectation level is at heading into the tournament. Did you have that talk with them, and how did it go?
Oh, we always do. We always, at this time of the year, you know, I remember I used to harp a lot on like national championship stuff. And I almost stopped around the time when Svetlana was playing here. Maybe because Russians think differently, as you've been reading in the paper. Maybe they just think differently. I don't know. But I remember one day she looked at me and she goes, "Why do you keep talking about national championships?" I go, "Because that's important in this country, you know, in case you haven't figured it out." She goes, "I know, but we already all know that. So why do you keep talking about it? Obviously, that's why we're all here. So stop talking about it." And she made a lot of sense. It was like, yeah, if you're at Connecticut, that's what you expect to do. So it's not necessarily let's talk about winning a national championship. It's talking about this is what we've done to put ourselves in this position right here, right now. Okay, so it's March 17th. Here's where we are, and here's where we want to be at the end of the month. And here's what we have to do to get to the end of the month. And other than last year, as somebody said, where it was a big deal with the 4 national championships in a row and stuff, my message pretty much hasn't changed. Hasn't changed that much. You know, it's the same every year, except for last year. It's the only time it was different.
Right here, and then you can have it.
Geno, from Syracuse, Lindsey Kramer, just wanted to check in. I'm sure Brianna's, kind of during the year, you still talk to her a lot. Text you, how has your relationship changed other than the fact that, she's not player coach anymore, but, do you still keep in touch with her a lot and she could be like any kind of support?
Yeah, I mean, the first year that they're out, the first year that they're in the pros, it's kind of like when you were recruiting them, as opposed to when they were playing for you. You don't see them every day. You don't talk to them every day. You're not, kind of aware of what their emotions are every day. It's kind of like recruiting, If I texted Stewie right now before this interview's over, she'll get back to me. If she needed something and she would text me, I would get back to her right away. How often do we do that? As often as she needs it, as often as I think I need to contact her. But the longer they're away, it's like when your kids leave home, They all love you because they miss you until they don't. And then when they're back, they're back for a reason. Like my son went away and came home because, being close means you can get to the ATM faster or something. I don't know.
Right here.
I'm sorry you answered this question earlier, but what gives you the most concern and the most confidence going
Into the tournament?
Yeah.
Well, the confidence part's easy. The fact that we've been able to do what we did better than anybody else has been able to do it all year long against the best competition that anybody else has had a chance to play against or beat. So obviously that builds up a certain amount of confidence in your team and in you and the confidence you have in your team. The concern is the same concern as was when we played down at Florida State on game 1. There's a couple scenarios that if they occur, we can't recover from those scenarios. And that's different than last year or the year before or the year before that. We haven't been in this scenario in a long time. I can't remember the last time we were in this scenario where if 2 or 3 things go wrong, we can't recover.
You mean injury or foul?
Well, last year we lost Lou for the national championship game, and we won by 30. If we lose one of those guys this year for any game, we're going to be in trouble, big trouble. If we get the wrong officiating crew, it's going to be a big problem for us. We just have a very, very small margin of error. We have to control every single thing we can control. And then the things we can't control, we just have to cross our fingers. And I don't necessarily like going into the NCAA tournament like that. You know, again, it's like playing cards and hoping you get the 7th card, and you just keep your fingers crossed. I like playing when they deal you the cards, you look down and you never look at your cards again and just keep betting them up. We're not there this year.
Okay, less than 5 minutes to go, and last question will come here.
Geno, before the season, I think you mentioned the 92-93 team as something that this team reminded you of. Do they still remind you of that team, or is there another team now that you think back and think, wow, this team's accomplished what that team accomplished, or this team worries me?
What year? What year are you talking about? 2002 and 2003?
No, I think it was 92-93, the team that lost 2 in a row.
Oh, yeah. No, that team, 92-93, that was after our first Final Four. We had a great recruiting class, and then all of a sudden, we didn't have enough experience or enough good players, and it took us a couple years to rebuild. And then by the time '95 came around, we won a national championship. But this year was never about we don't have enough good players. We have enough good players. What we don't have is enough experience to warrant what we just did. So that was a huge surprise. It's more like the 2002, 2003 team after those 4 seniors graduated, but we don't have Diana. So they're really, but that's what's similar, you know. But everything's come so quickly, and it just fits so perfectly that, you know, there's always this sneaky suspicion of like, uh-oh, you know. Like I'm hitting golf balls last week. Something's not right. Oh, it's right. 2 feet of snow coming up next week. You know, it's, you know. I take comfort, though, in all the Irish people that celebrate today, St. Patrick's Day, that never have so many Irish people been so happy to celebrate the birth of an Italian, St. Patrick. So just keep that in your prayers, that an Italian came up and saved you guys from yourself.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach.
You're welcome.